The strongest alpha in the Northern Kingdom believed weakness deserved punishment. He believed pain created loyalty. He believed fear created order. Until the night he saw her scars. Not the ones the world could see. The ones he had caused. And in that moment, something inside him shattered forever. Because the girl he had sentenced to silence was the one destiny had chosen as his Luna. The Northern Kingdom feared only one name. Alpha King Kael Draven. He ruled with silence. He ruled with discipline. He ruled with control. And no one, not warriors, nobles, or servants, ever questioned him. Especially not servants like Lyra. Lyra walked quietly through the palace corridors each morning before sunrise. Before nobles awakened. Before guards rotated posts. Before the Alpha King stepped onto his obsidian balcony to watch the kingdom he had built through strength and sacrifice. No one noticed her. That was how she survived. Her hands carried water buckets heavier than her arms deserved. Her shoulders carried linens meant for royal chambers she was forbidden to enter unless summoned. Her heart carried something heavier still. Fear. But Lyra never complained. Because girls like her did not complain. Girls like her disappeared if they did. And she had already lost too much to risk disappearing again. The palace corridors smelled like stone and candle wax when she passed through them. She kept her head lowered. Always lowered. Servants were not meant to meet noble eyes. Especially not his. Because Alpha King Kael noticed everything. Every mistake. Every hesitation. Every weakness. And weakness was something he never tolerated. That morning began like every other morning. Cold. Silent. Invisible. Until the tray slipped. It happened too fast. Her fingers trembled from exhaustion. The silver cup rolled across marble floor. And stopped directly at the feet of the one person she feared most. Alpha King Kael. The corridor fell silent. Even the guards stopped breathing. Lyra froze. Her heart stopped. She didn't need to look up. She already knew whose boots stood before her. Black leather. Wolf-etched steel. Royal authority carved into every step he took. "Look at me," he said. His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It never needed to be. Lyra hesitated. That hesitation was a mistake. And mistakes had consequences in the Northern Kingdom. "I said," he repeated slowly. "Look at me." She lifted her eyes. And for the first time in her life, she saw the Alpha King looking directly at her. Not through her. Not past her. At her. His silver wolf eyes narrowed slightly. Not in anger. Not yet. In curiosity. Because something about this servant girl was wrong. Not weak. Not broken. Not afraid enough. And Alpha King Kael did not trust things he could not understand. "What is your name?" The question shocked everyone. Kings did not ask servant names. They ordered. They punished. They dismissed. They did not ask. "Lyra," she whispered. Louder. "Lyra, your majesty." He studied her face longer than he should have. Longer than was appropriate. Longer than made sense. Because something inside him shifted slightly. Not enough to notice. Not yet. But enough to begin something neither of them understood. "Pick it up." She bent quickly. Collected the fallen cup. And stepped back. Expecting punishment. Waiting for it. Preparing for it. But it never came. Instead, he walked past her. And that should have been the end of it. It should have been just another morning. Another forgotten mistake. Another invisible servant surviving another silent day. But it wasn't. Because behind her shoulder, hidden beneath torn fabric, a faint silver scar glowed for just 1 second. And Alpha King Kale saw it. He didn't stop walking. But something inside him paused. Something ancient. Something instinctive. Something dangerous. Because wolves recognized marks like that. Even kings did. And he had never seen one on a servant before. He said nothing. But he remembered. And remembering her was the beginning of everything. The punishment that went too far. The Northern Kingdom believed in order. And order was built on rules. Rules protected the strong. Rules exposed the weak. And rules were never broken without consequence. Especially inside Alpha King Kale Draven's palace. 3 days passed after the corridor incident. 3 silent days. 3 careful mornings where Lyra avoided the royal wing. 3 nights where she slept with the same quiet fear pressing against her ribs. Because servants learned something quickly in the Northern Kingdom. If the Alpha King remembered you, your life changed. But he did not summon her. He did not question her again. He did not punish her. And that silence frightened her more than anger would have. Because silence meant watching. Waiting. Judging. On the 4th morning, the palace changed. The air shifted. The guards spoke less. The servants walked faster. And the nobles whispered more than usual. Something had happened. Something serious. Lyra discovered what it was when she entered the lower kitchens. A noblewoman's voice echoed sharply across the stone chamber. Cold. Elegant. Cruel. Which servant entered the royal archive corridor yesterday evening? No one answered. Because no servant admitted mistakes inside the palace. Mistakes meant disappearance. I asked a question. The noblewoman stepped forward. Her silver cloak brushed across polished stone. Her wolf insignia shimmered in torchlight. Everyone recognized her immediately. Lady Sereth. The Alpha's chosen Luna candidate. The future queen. Her eyes scanned the servants one by one. Sharp. Precise. Hunting. You, she said. Her finger pointed directly at Lyra. Step forward. Lyra's heart stopped. Her breath caught. Her fingers tightened around the cloth she was holding. But she obeyed. Because servants always obeyed. I cleaned the corridor, Lyra answered softly. Seretha's smile appeared slowly. Not kind. Never kind. Cleaned. She stepped closer. Too close. So you admit entering the restricted royal archive passage? I followed orders, Lyra whispered. From whom? Silence. Because there had been no orders. Only spilled ink. Only a request from another servant. Only a mistake. Seretha's voice dropped. Cold as winter steel. Then you entered without permission. Gasps filled the kitchen. Everyone knew what that meant. Archive corridors were forbidden territory. Sacred territory. Royal territory. Punishable territory. And punishment inside Kale's palace was never small. Guards, Sereth said calmly. Bring her. 2 warriors stepped forward instantly. They did not hesitate. They never hesitated. Because Lady Sereth spoke with the Alpha's authority. Lyra didn't resist. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. Servants who survived long enough inside the Northern Kingdom learned one thing. Silence kept you alive longer than tears. They dragged her through the palace courtyard. Across the stone steps. Past watching nobles. Past whispering guards. past servants who lowered their eyes quickly so they would not be next, and straight toward the punishment arena. The arena was not meant for servants. It was meant for warriors, for criminals, for traitors, for wolves who betrayed their pack. Not for girls like Lyra. The heavy iron gates opened slowly. Stone walls rose high above her. Cold wind moved through the empty training ground. And standing at the top of the obsidian staircase overlooking everything was Alpha King Kael Draven. He had already been informed. He had already been watching. He had already been deciding. Sereth bowed slightly. "My king." Kael's silver eyes moved past her immediately. To Lyra. "Explain," he said. Sereth spoke first. She entered the royal archive corridor without permission. Kael's jaw tightened slightly. Not anger. Disappointment. And disappointment from the Alpha King was worse than rage. "Is that true?" Lyra swallowed. "Yes. Your Majesty." Silence filled the arena. The guards shifted slightly. Even Sereth waited. Because everyone knew what came next. Punishment. "Remove her cloak," Kael ordered. The command echoed across the stone courtyard. Lyra froze. Her breath stopped. Her fingers tightened instinctively around the cloth tied across her shoulders. Because no one removed their cloak willingly. Not if they had something to hide. "Now," Kael repeated. The guards stepped forward. They obeyed the command for her. The cloth slipped from her shoulders. Fell to the ground. And the world changed. Gasps filled the arena. Even Sereth stepped back. Because what they saw was not normal. Not natural. Not acceptable. Scars. Across her back. Across her shoulders. Across her arms. Old scars. Deep scars. Burned scars. Whip scars. Silver burned scars. Scars made by wolves. Not enemies. Not strangers. Pack wolves. Royal wolves. Kael's breath stopped. Just for a second. Because wolves recognized wounds like that. They recognized punishment marks. They recognized ownership marks. They recognized cruelty. But these scars were not punishment. They were survival. And something inside Alpha King Kael Draven shifted violently. Then cracked. Because he understood something instantly. Something terrifying. Something impossible. Something he did not want to believe. These scars were given under his rule. And he had never known. His voice changed. Lower. Rougher. Dangerous. Who did this? Lyra didn't answer. She never answered questions like that. Because servants who accused nobles disappeared. Who did this? He repeated. Louder this time. Still silence. Still fear. Still obedience. Sereth stepped forward. It does not matter, she said calmly. She broke palace law. Kael didn't look at her. Didn't respond. Didn't acknowledge her voice. Because for the first time since becoming Alpha King, his attention was not on rules. Not on discipline. Not on order. It was on her scars. And something inside him finally broke. Not loudly. Not visibly. But permanently. Release her, he ordered quietly. The guards froze. Sereth froze. The arena froze. My king, Sereth said carefully. She entered a restricted. I said, Kael repeated slowly. Release her. His silver wolf eyes flashed. Not with authority. With something far more dangerous. Regret. And regret was something Alpha Kings were never supposed to feel. Lyra collapsed slightly as the guard stepped away. Not because she was weak. Because she had been holding herself together too long. Kale stepped down the obsidian staircase slowly. Each step echoed across the arena. Each step changed something inside the kingdom. And when he finally stood in front of her, close enough to see every scar clearly, he understood the truth. This girl had survived things no servant should survive. No wolf should survive. No Luna should survive. And somehow, he had never seen her before. Until now. The arena did not breathe. No one moved. No one spoke. Because something had changed. Not in the kingdom. Not in the law. Not even in the punishment. Something had changed inside Alpha King Kale Draven. And everyone could feel it. He stood only one step away from her now. Close enough to see the scars clearly. Too close to pretend they meant nothing. Too close to remain the same king he had been moments earlier. Stand, he said quietly. Not as a command. As a request. No one in the Northern Kingdom had ever heard their Alpha King speak like that before. Lyra obeyed slowly. Her knees trembled. But she stood. Not because she was strong. Because she had learned how to stand even when she was breaking. Kale reached forward. Then stopped. His hand hovered in the air near her shoulder. Not touching. Not yet. Because touching a servant publicly would be noticed. And everything the Alpha King did was always noticed. What are these marks? He asked again. This time softer. This time different. They are nothing, she whispered. They are not nothing. They are old, she answered. They do not matter anymore. Kale's jaw tightened. Old scars did not glow. Old wounds did not carry silver burn traces. Old punishment marks did not look like royal binding symbols. But these did. His wolf stirred inside him. Not in anger. Not in hunger. Not in dominance. Recognition. And wolves never ignored recognition. Who marked you? He asked again. Silence. But this silence was different. This silence was fear. Not fear of punishment. Fear of truth. Sereth stepped forward again. Her patience thinning. My king, she said carefully. This servant has already confessed to entering a restricted. Leave, Kale said. The word echoed louder than thunder. The arena froze. Sereth blinked once. Sure she had misunderstood. My king. Leave, he repeated. No one had ever dismissed Lady Sereth publicly before. No one except the Alpha King. And never like this. Seretha's expression hardened slowly. Her pride cut deeper than any blade. But she bowed. Because even future queens obeyed the Alpha King. As she walked away, her eyes never left Lyra. And they promised something dangerous. Revenge. When the arena emptied, only guards remained. And Kale dismissed them too. Now it was just the two of them. Alpha King. Servant girl. And silence. You are not a servant, he said finally. Lyra looked up quickly. Fear flashing across her face. Yes, I am. No. His voice carried certainty now. You are hiding something. I am hiding nothing. But she stepped backward. And Kale noticed. He noticed everything. Always. Turn around, he said quietly. She froze. No. That single word shocked him. Servants did not refuse Alpha Kings. Ever. Turn around, he repeated. Not louder. but deeper. Her hands trembled slightly. But she obeyed. Slowly. Reluctantly. Carefully. And when she turned, he saw them clearly. All of them. Not punishment marks. Not servant scars. Not discipline wounds. Royal binding scars. Ancient wolf symbols. Burned into her skin. Not by cruelty. By ritual. Kale stopped breathing. Because he knew those markings. Every Alpha King did. They were not punishment symbols. They were protection seals. Used only once in a generation. Only once. Only on one person. The Luna chosen by the moon itself. Impossible. You should not be alive, he whispered. Lyra's shoulders stiffened. You should not exist. Her voice trembled now. I never asked to exist. Something inside him twisted painfully at those words. Because no one should say something like that. Not a servant. Not a wolf. Not a Luna. Who sealed you? He asked. She stayed silent again. But silence could not hide truth anymore. Not now. Not after what he had seen. The moon marked you, he said slowly. Didn't it? She closed her eyes. Just for 1 second. And that was answer enough. Kale stepped back. Not in fear. In realization. The palace had hidden her. The nobles had punished her. The servants had ignored her. And he, the Alpha King, had never noticed her. Until now. You were chosen, he said quietly. Yes. Then why are you here? She laughed. Soft. Broken. Not happy. Never happy. Because someone decided I should not be. The meaning hit him instantly. Harder than any battlefield wound. Someone had tried to erase the moon's choice. Someone inside his kingdom had punished destiny itself. Someone had done it under his rule. Who? He asked again. She looked up at him. And for the first time, her fear changed. Not gone. Changed. Into trust. I cannot tell you, she whispered. Not yet. Kale studied her carefully. Not like a king. Like a wolf. Like a protector. Like something older than crowns. You will, he said. Because from this moment forward. He stepped closer again. Close enough that the arena air changed between them. Close enough that even silence felt louder. No one touches you again. Lyra blinked slowly. Not believing him. Not trusting him. Not understanding him. But something inside her shifted too. Because Alpha Kings did not make promises like that. Not to servants. Not to strangers. Not to girls like her. And yet, he just had. The moon above the arena clouds moved slightly. Silver light touched the stone ground between them. Touched her scars. Touched his eyes. Touched something ancient neither of them fully understood yet. Destiny had waited years for this moment. And now, it had finally begun. The Northern Kingdom noticed everything. Especially when its king changed. And Alpha King Kale Draven was changing. At first. No one understood it. The guards only whispered. The servants only stared. The nobles only watched carefully from behind polished smiles. But change inside a kingdom never stayed hidden for long. Especially not when it began with the Alpha himself. It started the morning after the arena. Before sunrise. Before council meetings. Before warriors assembled for training. Before the palace corridors filled with movement. Kale gave an order. A quiet order. A simple order. An impossible order. Bring her to the Eastern Tower. The messenger froze. Because no servant had ever been summoned there. The Eastern Tower belonged to the royal family. To queens. To Luna candidates. To the Alpha's private chambers. My king, the servant. Yes. And that single word changed everything. Servants whispered first. Then guards. Then nobles. And finally, Lady Seraph. Lyra arrived escorted by 2 silent palace guards. Not dragged. Not accused. Escorted. That alone terrified her more than punishment ever had. The Eastern Tower doors opened slowly. Warm sunlight filled the hallway. Unlike the cold stone servant quarters. This place smelled like cedarwood and clean air. Peaceful. Safe. Royal. She stepped inside carefully. Not understanding why she had been brought here. Not trusting what it meant. Not believing it could last. Kale stood near the tall window overlooking the forest valley below the palace cliffs. He did not turn immediately. Because even Alpha Kings sometimes needed time before speaking truths they were not ready to admit. You did not sleep, he said quietly. It wasn't a question. No, she answered honestly. Neither did I. That surprised her. Kings did not admit weakness. Kings did not share sleepless nights. Kings did not speak like that. He turned slowly. And for the first time since she had known him. His expression was not cold. Not distant. Not royal. Human. You should have been protected, he said. She blinked. Not understanding. The marks on your back, he continued. They were placed to protect you. They failed, she whispered. No, he said immediately. They did not. He stepped closer. Not like a ruler approaching a subject. Like a wolf approaching something fragile. Something important. Something he had almost lost without realizing. They kept you alive, he said. She lowered her eyes again. Because survival was not something she had ever celebrated. Only endured. Why did no one help you, he asked. She hesitated. Because the truth was dangerous. Because truth inside royal walls carried consequences. Because truth could destroy kingdoms. They were told not to, she whispered finally. Kale's expression hardened slowly. By whom? Silence again. But this silence was heavier. Not fear. Protection. You are protecting someone, he said. Yes. Someone who hurt you. Yes. Kale turned away sharply. Because something inside his chest tightened painfully at that answer. Because he understood loyalty. He understood sacrifice. He understood silence. But he did not understand why someone like her would protect someone who had caused her suffering. Unless she believed she had no choice. You will not protect them anymore, he said. Her head lifted quickly. I must. No. His voice carried alpha authority now. Not anger. Promise. You are under my protection now. The words echoed between them. Heavy. Impossible. Dangerous. No one protects servants, she whispered. I do. She shook her head slowly. You protect your kingdom. And you are part of my kingdom. No, she said quietly. I am not. Something inside him shifted again. That same fracture that had begun in the arena deepened. Because no one in his kingdom should believe they did not belong. Especially not someone the moon itself had chosen. You are, he said firmly. And I should have known. You could not have known, she answered. I should have. The guilt in his voice surprised both of them. Because Alpha Kings did not carry guilt. They carried responsibility. They carried authority. They carried power. But guilt? Never guilt. I failed you, he said quietly. Her breath caught. Because those words were heavier than punishment. Heavier than commands. Heavier than anything she had expected to hear from him. You did not, she said quickly. You did not even know me. That is why I failed. Silence filled the eastern tower again. But this silence was different. Warmer. Closer. More dangerous. Because something invisible had begun forming between them. Not obligation. Not duty. Something older than both. Recognition. Suddenly. A guard knocked urgently on the tower door. My king. Kale turned immediately. What is it? Lady Sereth requests audience. Of course she did. Denied, he answered. The guard hesitated. My king, she insists. Kale's silver eyes darkened slightly. Denied. The guard bowed quickly and left. Lyra stared at him. Because no one denied Lady Sereth. Not openly. Not twice. Not publicly. You should not do that, she whispered. I should. She will be angry. I am not afraid of anger. She is not the danger, Lyra said quietly. That made him pause. Then who is? Her silence returned. But this silence carried warning. Not fear. Warning. Someone who does not want me here, she whispered finally. Kale stepped closer again. Close enough that his voice dropped. Low. Certain. Protective. Then they should be afraid now. Because everything inside him had changed. Because something had broken the moment he saw her scars. Because kings who realized their mistakes did not ignore them. They corrected them. And Alpha King Kale Draven had just chosen his side. Not the nobles. Not the council. Not the future queen. Her. The truth about her destiny. The Northern Kingdom had always believed its history was complete. Its traditions were sacred. Its rulers were chosen. Its future was certain. But kingdoms only believed those things until truth arrived. And truth had finally begun walking through the palace corridors. Quietly. Carefully. Dangerously. It began with a book. Not a sword. Not a trial. Not a confession. A book. 3 nights after Lyra entered the Eastern Tower, Kale stood alone inside the Royal Archive Chamber. The same chamber she had once been punished for entering. The same corridor she had nearly disappeared because of. The same place someone had tried very hard to keep her away from. And now he understood why. Ancient records were not meant for servants. Not meant for nobles. Not meant for councils. Only meant for kings. Moon-binding records. Luna selection scrolls. Royal protection seals. And hidden among them. A missing name. Kale turned another brittle parchment page slowly. Carefully. Deliberately. Because what he was searching for would change everything. And he already knew it. The moon never made mistakes. Never. Not once in recorded history. When the moon marked a Luna, the kingdom obeyed. The Alpha obeyed. Destiny obeyed. But 20 years ago, the record stopped. The page where the moon-chosen Luna should have been listed was empty. Not unfinished. Not faded. Removed. Someone had erased her. Kale's hand tightened around the parchment. Because there was only one reason anyone erased a moon-chosen Luna from history. Fear. Someone had been afraid of her. Afraid enough to rewrite destiny itself. And suddenly, her scars made sense. Not punishment. Protection. Not cruelty. Containment. Not survival marks. Suppression seals. Someone had hidden her power. Hidden her identity. Hidden her existence. Inside his kingdom. Inside his palace. Inside his rule. Behind him. The archive doors opened quietly. You were not meant to find that. Cale turned slowly. Because he recognized that voice instantly. Lady Sereth. She stepped into the chamber calmly. Elegantly. Fearlessly. Like someone who had already accepted what came next. You erased her, Cale said. Not a question. Sereth smiled faintly. Yes. Silence filled the chamber. Heavy. Cold. Final. You rewrote Moon Law. I protected the kingdom. You hid the moon-chosen Luna. I prevented chaos. Cale's silver wolf eyes darkened. Because she believed what she was saying. She truly believed it. She was a child, he said quietly. She was a threat, Sereth answered. To whom? To you. That answer stunned him. Not because it was unexpected. Because it was honest. She was never meant to survive, Sereth continued calmly. But the ritual protected her longer than expected. Cale's voice lowered dangerously. You scarred her. Yes. You burned protection seals into her skin. Yes. You ordered her silence. Yes. Every answer came without hesitation. Without apology. Without regret. Why? He asked finally. Sereth stepped closer. Close enough that torchlight reflected inside her silver eyes. Close enough that truth could no longer hide behind politics. Because the moon chose her instead of me. Silence exploded across the archive chamber. And I was not willing to disappear. Now Cale understood everything. The punishments. The silence. The erased record. The scars. The lies. The fear. Sereth had not just punished a servant. She had erased a queen. You altered destiny, he said. No, she corrected him. I protected the kingdom from weakness. She is not weak. She survived because she hid. She survived because she is strong. She survived because I allowed it, Sereth answered coldly. That was the moment something inside Cale changed again. Not cracked. Not shifted. Changed. Because this was no longer about destiny. No longer about law. No longer about tradition. This was about justice. You will stand trial, he said. Sereth laughed softly. You cannot try me. I can. You cannot. Her voice sharpened slightly now. Because if you name her the moon-chosen Luna. She stepped closer again. You lose half your council. Cale didn't move. Didn't hesitate. Didn't step back. Then I lose them. For the first time. Sereth looked uncertain. You would risk your kingdom. I would protect it. She will divide your people. She will unite them. She will weaken your throne. She will strengthen it. Sereth studied him carefully now. Because she finally understood something important. Something dangerous. Something irreversible. He had chosen her. Not politically. Not strategically. Not carefully. Personally. You are already too late, Sereth said quietly. Cale's eyes narrowed slightly. What does that mean? Her smile returned slowly. Cold. Satisfied. Certain. She does not know what she is yet. Then I will tell her. She will not believe you. She will. She cannot become Luna without completing the final ritual. Kale's heartbeat slowed. Because he knew what that ritual required. And the ritual cannot be completed, Sereth continued. Without revealing her true power. The room fell silent again. Because revealing Luna power changed everything. Changed kingdoms. Changed alliances. Changed wolves forever. And if her power awakens, Sereth finished softly. The entire northern kingdom will kneel. Kale did not answer immediately. Because he already knew that. He already understood what awakening meant. It meant war. And he was ready for it. Then let them kneel, he said. Because something had broken inside him the moment he saw her scars. And broken kings were no longer afraid of destiny. The northern kingdom had never gathered like this before. Not for war. Not for coronation. Not even for the choosing of an alpha. This gathering was different. Heavier. Older. Dangerous. Because this time, they were not witnessing a ruler being chosen. They were witnessing destiny being restored. The royal courtyard filled before sunrise. Warriors lined the stone walls. Council elders stood beneath ancient banners. Servants whispered nervously behind pillars. Nobles watched from balconies carved into the palace towers. And above them all, the moon waited. Hidden behind storm clouds that refused to move. As if the sky itself understood what was about to happen. At the center of the courtyard stood the ritual platform. Ancient. Circular. Marked with silver wolf runes carved generations ago. The same platform where every Luna had once been revealed. The same platform that had remained unused for 20 years. Until today. Alpha King Kale Draven stood beside it. Still. Silent. Unshaken. But not unchanged. Because the king who stood there now was not the same king who had watched her collapse in the arena days before. Something inside him truly had broken that day. And what replaced it was stronger. Clearer. Unstoppable. The council elder stepped forward. My king, he said carefully. This assembly has not been approved. Kale did not look at him. I approve it. The moon-chosen record does not exist. It was erased. Gasps spread through the courtyard. Because kings did not say things like that publicly. Not unless they were ready to change everything. You risk dividing the kingdom, another elder warned. I risk restoring it, Kale answered calmly. The courtyard gates opened slowly. Every head turned. Every voice fell silent. Every breath stopped. Because she had arrived. Lyra stepped into the courtyard alone. No guards. No escort. No protection. Except him. She wore no servant cloak now. No torn fabric. No hidden shoulders. No lowered eyes. Only a simple white ceremonial dress the Eastern Tower attendants had prepared for her. Not royal. Not noble. But unmistakably ancient. The moon-chosen dress. Whispers spread instantly across the courtyard. Because everyone recognized it. Even those who pretended not to. She cannot be. It is impossible. The record was erased. She is only a servant. Kale stepped forward. Just one step. But it silenced the entire kingdom. Stand beside me, he said. Lyra hesitated. Not because she was afraid. Because she still did not believe this moment belonged to her. You should not do this, she whispered. I should have done it years ago. Her breath caught slightly. Because those words carried something deeper than authority. They carried regret. I do not know how to be Luna, she said quietly. You only need to be yourself. That is not enough. It is, he said. And it always was. She stepped forward. Slowly. Carefully. And stood beside him. The courtyard changed instantly. Because wolves felt things humans could not. And every wolf present felt it now. The pull. The recognition. The ancient bond between Alpha and Luna. It moved through the crowd like wind through trees. Silent. Invisible. Unmistakable. The council elder raised his staff. This claim cannot stand without proof. Kale turned toward the ritual platform. There will be proof. He stepped onto the ancient stone circle. Then extended his hand toward her. Come. She looked at the runes beneath his feet. At the silver symbols glowing faintly along the platform edges. At the place history had once expected her to stand. And still. She hesitated. Everyone will see, she whispered. They should. They will know what I am. They already do. She stepped onto the platform. The moment her foot touched the ancient stone. Everything changed. The runes lit instantly. Silver light spread across the circle. Wind moved through the courtyard without warning. Clouds above the palace shifted violently. And the moon appeared. Gasps erupted across the gathered wolves. Because moonlight did not obey storms. Unless destiny demanded it. The light touched her shoulders first. Then her back. Then the scars. And the scars answered. They began glowing. Not painfully. Not weakly. Powerfully. Ancient symbols rose across her skin like living silver flame. Protection seals transformed. Suppression marks shattered. Moon-chosen runes awakened. The courtyard dropped to its knees instantly. Warriors first. Then servants. Then nobles. Then elders. Even the council elder lowered his head slowly. Because the moon never made mistakes. Never. Kale did not kneel. Alpha kings never knelt before anyone. Except one. His Luna. He stepped closer to her. Close enough that only she could hear him speak. I am sorry, he said quietly. She blinked. You are my king. I should have been your protector. You are now. His hand moved slowly. Carefully. Gently. And rested over the glowing scars on her shoulder. Not as a ruler. As a promise. Never again, he whispered. Her eyes filled with tears. Not of fear. Not of pain. Of recognition. Because the moment she had survived for years had finally arrived. The moonlight intensified. The runes brightened. And something ancient awakened completely inside her. Her eyes began glowing. Soft silver at first. Then brighter. Stronger. Unmistakable. The bond completed. The Alpha stepped back slightly. Then did something no one in the Northern Kingdom had ever seen before. He bowed. Not deeply. Not formally. But unmistakably. To her. To my Luna, he said. Silence fell across the courtyard again. Not shocked silence. Sacred silence. Because destiny had finally been restored. And something inside him truly had broken the moment he saw her scars. Broken pride. Broken blindness. Broken distance. So something stronger could take its place. Devotion. Protection. Recognition. Love. The moon disappeared behind the clouds again. Its work finished. Its choice complete. Its queen revealed. And this time, no one would erase her again. Some scars are not signs of weakness. Some scars are proof that destiny waited, even when the world tried to erase it. He ruled a kingdom with strength. But the moment he saw her suffering, something inside him broke. Not his power. Not his crown. His silence. Because sometimes the strongest alpha is not the one who commands fear, but the one who finally chooses to protect the one the moon chose for him. And from that moment forward, she was never invisible again. If this story touched your heart, if you believe destiny always finds its way back, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves powerful Alpha Luna stories like this one. And tell me in the comments, when did you realize she was the true moon-chosen Luna? I read every comment. And your answer might inspire the next story.